On hearing the name of Afghanistan, only one word comes to mind: Taliban. But you will not believe that after hearing that Afghanistan's currency, Afghani, is performing better than Indian rupee, and also the Afghani has beaten all other currencies. Today, to buy $1, you will have to pay 83 Indian rupees and some 279 Pakistani rupees, but only 72 Afghani. Is Afghanistan, which looks poor from a distance, secretly very rich? Are some gems hidden in the economy there? Let us know in this video. This is the world of economies, where we will learn important lessons. If you like our effort, then do not forget to subscribe to us. Chapter 1. The Underdogs. Afghanistan has been in the grip of war for the last 40 years. First Soviet Union, then America, and now Taliban controls Afghanistan. And its direct impact is on their economy. In 2021, the United States took a historic decision to withdraw its armed forces from Afghanistan. They thought that now the situation is stable there, and the government could control the people, but the truth was something else. On the 15th of August 2021, the Taliban captured Kabul and established the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. The interesting thing is that most of the countries of the world do not recognize the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. Only 3 countries have officially recognized them to date: China, Pakistan, and North Korea. As a result, all other countries stopped almost 100% of trade with Afghanistan, and Western countries imposed sanctions on Taliban-controlled Afghanistan so that it becomes difficult for them to trade with other countries. That's why today Afghanistan has become one of the poorest countries in the world. Before Taliban control, 80% of the Afghan government's budget was funded by the US and other Western donors, and 40% of its total GDP came from foreign aid. But then this was cut off. The reason was that this money should not go directly into the hands of the Taliban, and the Taliban should not use it to spread terrorism. The Asian Development Bank believes that 49% of people live below the poverty line. Afghanistan's GDP is around $14 billion, which is below the Palestine's GDP, and some 41 million people live here. But it is possible that the real economy of Afghanistan may be much bigger than this. Most people work in an informal sector, and there is no reporting of this informal sector. For example, education is not allowed to women. They are also not allowed to work. There are only a few selected jobs that they can do, and there is no tax charged on all this money. It is believed that an underground economy is also running inside the formal economy of Afghanistan, and we have absolutely no idea of its size. The trade of this underground economy continues with Pakistan and Iran. Despite so much adversity, the people of Afghanistan are continuing the fight for life. Chapter 2. How does the Taliban make money? Afghanistan is a poor country, but it doesn't mean that those who control it are also poor. At the beginning of this video, we asked you a question. Is Afghanistan secretly rich? The short answer is yes, and the long answer is it's complicated. Let's talk about the Taliban. Taliban is the richest militant group in the world, which earns money in 3 ways: foreign donations, controlling trade routes, and mines and minerals. The first source is foreign donations. The CIA believes that Russia, China, and Pakistan fund the Taliban in the form of donations. A classified US report says that the Taliban earned $106 million from Gulf countries. These include individual contributions coming from Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. Estimates say that the Taliban earns a total of $500 million every year from foreign donations. The third source is controlling trade routes. Transportation is a big business for Afghanistan. Traders have to pay taxes when passing through the routes that are under the control of the Taliban. When American troops were in Afghanistan, they started the reconstruction of Afghanistan, under which 14,000 projects were being constructed. These include projects like the Salma Dam, the Afghanistan Parliament Building, the National Museum of Afghanistan, and Kabul Airport. America invested $141 billion, and the international community came together and invested $30 billion in these projects. Their most ambitious project was the Ring Road, which was a complete failure because as soon as the American troops built the road, the Taliban would come and capture it. The Taliban would charge money for allowing goods to pass through the trade routes, from which they earned millions of dollars from 2003 to 2021. The last source is mining. Afghanistan's mining industry was worth $1 billion, and mining is carried out here on a small scale. Mining is not done with big machines, but with small manual labor, out of which Taliban people control 25 to 30%, and the revenue from this was $10 million. Remember, all this data is before 2021, when the Taliban government was not formed. Now, all the money is under the control of the Taliban, so they can decide what is right and what is not, what is legal and what is illegal. Chapter 3. Hidden gems of Afghanistan. 100 years ago, if someone had said that the Middle East would look like this, it would have seemed like a scene from a fantasy movie. But today, the desert of the Middle East has become an economic oasis because black gold was found here, for instance. Oil. It started in Iran in 1908. After this, it seemed as a chain reaction started. A lot of oil was discovered in countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and UAE. Oil is the fuel for our vehicles. Even if you don't drive, products made from oil are still around you, such as plastic bottles, tires, candles, cosmetics, and toothpaste, which contain some petroleum ingredients, meaning today's life is dependent on oil, and that's why the Middle East has progressed. But now the era of oil is old. The future is of white gold, for example, lithium. The same lithium which is used in electric vehicle batteries. Afghanistan is called Saudi Arabia of lithium, and there could be lithium reserves worth $1 trillion here. In the next 20 years, the demand for lithium is going to increase 40 times from today, and China knows this. Perhaps that's why China has also recognized the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. China's focus is going to be on lithium, and China has already captured 57% of the world's total EV production market. Government support, market conditions, and local supply are responsible for this. By controlling lithium mines, they can get a huge advantage for the next 200 years, which is why China is capturing lithium projects all over the world. China has invested $2.3 billion in Bolivia and $777 million in Argentina. Similarly, China's lithium extraction projects are also starting in Chile and Mexico. While other countries do not want to do business with the Taliban, China is ready for a business deal. China is going to sign a business deal worth $10 billion with Afghanistan, with the promise that after this deal, jobs will increase in Afghanistan. There will be progress and money will come. China is playing the long-term game here, offering just $10 billion for a deposit of $1 trillion. If it is able to actually extract $1 trillion worth of lithium, it will benefit 100 times. That is huge. Even today, the Taliban earns $200 to $300 million by mining gold, gemstones, emeralds, and rubies. But to fully commercialize Afghanistan's mining sector, external help will be required. Today, Afghanistan has natural resources, but lacks capital and equipment to utilize them properly. China can provide these things. America's refusal to help has created a power vacuum that China can fill. Chapter 4. Conclusion. At the beginning of the video, we told you that Afghani is stronger than a rupee, but the comparison is not only with rupees. The fact is that in the third quarter of 2023, Afghani has become the best performing currency in the world. Why so? Because it rains dollars there, and I'm not even kidding. Hard cash from the plane reaches its 23 NGOs that do relief work in Afghanistan. These millions of dollars in cash go to Afghanistan, and because of this, Afghani becomes strong, because this money is not useful for the common people, but for the Taliban. The logic is simple: demand and supply. We call demand and supply as market forces. If demand is high and supply is low, prices will rise, and if supply is high but demand is low, prices will fall. When the Taliban came to power, America froze all their forex reserves, that is, took away all their dollars from them. They felt that if the Taliban did not get dollars, they would not be able to trade with anyone, and ultimately they would be able to negotiate with them. But on the other hand, the Taliban kept receiving aid on humanitarian grounds. Different international organizations kept sending them dollars. These also include countries making foreign donations. The hypocrisy is that America also keeps sending dollars as aid to Afghanistan. All this supply is done in dollars, but the people there cannot buy anything in dollars. They ultimately have to give all these dollars to the Taliban and take Afghani. The Taliban does not allow these dollars to get into the hands of the people in Afghanistan. All transactions happen only in Afghani. Some countries whose own currency is not stable carry out daily tasks in some other stable currency. Something like this used to happen in Afghanistan before a few years, but the Taliban banned it. So what happened was that the demand for dollars decreased in Afghanistan. People who had dollars sold them and bought Afghanis, which means the price of Afghani increased. This is a masterstroke of the Taliban, in which the Taliban has benefits, but a common Afghan person suffers loss. So there is no indicator of this development. Stronger Afghani currency does not mean that an ordinary Afghan person is happier. It just means that Afghanistan is a rich country of poor people with the best militancy and the worst luck, which gives them the name of the biggest underdogs in the world of economies. If you learned something new from this video, then share it with your friends. If you want to stay updated with more such content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Remember, every like, share, and comment fuels our motivation to bring more such exciting content your way. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.